Welcome to What I Love About Men. So Chris, where are you?
In Mexico.
I know you're in Mexico. Are you like walking the streets right now?
Oh yeah, I'm on the street. That's why I paused. I was like, did you want to know the country? Like where? Yeah, no, I'm on the street.
Okay. Well, at least there's no bells. I was just watching your YouTube video with that bell, that just cut it into your whole video.
Yeah, that
was
dude
so
walked
funny.
up the street every day in Mexico City ringing a fucking bell. And I don't know what he was doing. Just the city is so loud, man.
It is. Okay, so I'm going to start and just give you the quick introduction as far as what I know. I know you are a leading coach. Well, you were in Melbourne, Australia. Now you're in Mexico, traveling around. But you've been a coach since 2008 for men, right? And you've been on different shows, like different news outlets, right? You wrote for some for some bloggers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember. So what makes you, I want to start off with like, what makes you different from the typical pickup artists? Because I know that most men coaches tend to steer towards pickup artistry. So what makes you not a pickup artist?
I think a few reasons, but the first one that comes to mind is that I was doing it before the whole pickup artist thing really took off. So I got started in this in 2004. And then, of course, the Game by Neil Strauss came out in 2005, and that's when everyone started wearing fluffy hats and fucking weird shit into bars. So I just never. It's funny because a lot of people think I have this very like moral approach to dating, and I go about things the right way and blah blah blah. But it's not that at all. It's just I just don't think any of the weird shit's necessary. So, like
like
by the
what
time,
weird shit?
Just weird shit. Like, I was doing all right back in 2004, 2005, wandering around bars. Just like, hey, how's your night? What are you drinking? That looks weird. What's your name?
Yeah.
I was going okay with that.
Just like simple shit.
Yeah, because like guys forget that girls generally want so they think they have to undertake this massive facade to convince the girl to like them. It's like, dude, she fucking likes you or she doesn't. Like telling her about a goddamn horoscope ain't going to change shit. So it just, so I guess that's probably the main way. Yeah.
So it's just like being real and upfront and just human instead of trying to go about it a certain way.
Yeah. Because I think like, look, if you get the perfect quote pickup line and you walk around a bar and you say that to 20, 30 girls, okay, you're going to get a certain number of good responses. But then also if you just walk around that same bar going, hey, how are you? What's your name? Like you're going to get the same, if not more positive responses, So again, it's just, I'm just doing what I think you have to do without like, I don't have the mental capacity to remember a bunch of weird shit to go out and meet girls. And I don't think many of my clients really want dating to be like some chess game. So yeah.
And would you say that in your eyes, women aren't that confusing? Like it doesn't have to be a chess game?
I think they're only confusing because much like anything else, if we're not ever taught about it, then it's going to be confusing because we don't understand. I don't think men or women are particularly difficult to understand. My girlfriend thinks I'm particularly difficult to understand, but I'm fucked in the head.
You are.
Yeah.
So I love you.
I only think it's complicated because we're not really shown any of this stuff. We hit kind of 18, 19 or whatever and just like, all right, have at it, have fun. We're not really taught anything except for maybe what tradition and movies and maybe our mother says, just be a nice guy, go out there, be respectful, and it's not practical. It doesn't help. So no, I don't think it's as confusing as we think.
Yeah. I know. I think that stops a lot of guys too, because right away they have this mindset of women are different. I mean, obviously we're very different, and like, it's just about understanding us. Like it's not that you just got to put in some work. And I think a lot of guys don't want to put in the work because it does take work. You can't just all of a sudden have magic words that you say to her and she
100%. Yeah, and if you're new at this, you got a lot of work. I've been doing this shit, like I said, since 2004. That's 14 years, and I'm still cocking up things all the time, saying dumb shit, like just kind of looking and just going, what the hell was that? You know, so if someone's starting out, you know, I'm 14 years ahead of most guys, and even I'm still confused a lot of the time. So, I mean, like, I don't buy anyone who says kind of like they've got it all figured out. And, you know, I think that's the beauty of dating. Like, I don't think we'll ever understand each other 100%. I don't think you'd want to. That's what makes it fun and interesting and sometimes frustrating, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I think instead of looking at it as a game that's difficult, think of it as a game that's fun, right? Because you're constantly trying to figure someone out. And if you weren't, it would be boring, right?
It would be boring, yeah.
So I want to talk about one of your YouTube videos on jealousy. And
okay.
yeah, I thought that was really good. I really liked it, the most recent one.
Oh, thank you.
And I loved what you said, how your emotions are the language your subconscious mind is talking to you in.
I like that. I said that, and in my head I went, that was pretty good.
Oh, shit, that's a winner.
Oh, that was good. I got to put that on a meme.
Gotta make a meme, yeah. But yeah, can you talk about that more? Like in terms of like separating the emotion?
Yeah, sure. I think it just takes a real strong conscious effort to apply logic to some really strong emotions. And I really think jealousy is up there with one of the strongest emotions. You know, jealousy, hatred, love. I think these emotions are, you know, tier 1 emotions. And unless you apply logic to them, it doesn't, you know, whether it be jealousy or even love, you know, you can be in love with someone, but if you're not applying logic to it, going, this person is a nightmare for me, and you just go with love rather than like taking a second to think logically, you're going to end up in a shitload of trouble. And I think jealousy is the same sort of thing, you know, like jealousy can be so consuming. You know, I'm a strong motherfucker and I get jealous over dumb shit, but like I have the ability to step aside and like apply logic to it, you know, and I think a lot of people just get caught up in the emotion of it and then they act before they do that, and then oftentimes things are, you know, fucked beyond repair.
Yeah. Can you give an example of applying logic to it when you're stuck in that emotion, maybe?
Sure. Well, I mean, one that I think I mentioned in the video was one that I see all the time, which is where guys will get insanely jealous of another guy talking to their girlfriend in a bar or something. Like, you know, they'll be at the bar and they'll come back from the bar and some guy will be talking to their girlfriend. And I see this all the time. I used to see this weekend after weekend after weekend. And it's just dumb because I think, look, there are two circumstances there. Either the girl, like if the girl is doing something, floating back, whatever, and you're right there, okay, maybe something to discuss or whatever. But 99% of the time from what I saw, the girl was just being nice and friendly and polite, which most girls are. And the guy just lets shit fly, you know. And I think most guys feel that. But I think, like, if you can just take a moment to apply some logic to it, you're not going to get yourself into too much trouble. Sorry, I'm panting. It's hot as fuck.
Climbing a mountain.
No, I'm trying to find some water, and it feels like I'm climbing a goddamn mountain. I don't know how the fuck these people wear jeans everywhere. They're insane.
They do. They wear sweaters, too.
Oh, it's
They're
ridiculous.
always in long sleeves.
I'm walking around in shorts, Converse, and no shirt. Oh.
But yeah, that's like, yeah, that's really good. When you think of jealousy, though, does that come from a place of insecurity, would you say, all the time? Or can it be multiple things?
No,
when
I definitely
guys get that jealous?
I think when they get insanely jealous, absolutely. I wouldn't say insecurity. I would say unresolved past trauma. But I don't think and that's the problem that I think a lot of people have. They mistake jealousy for an insecurity, and it's just not. I believe jealousy is completely natural. Like, I believe if you went into the dark realms of the, you know, like Amazon or somewhere, and you talk to the wrong girl, you're going to get smashed in the head with a rock. Like, I think it's completely natural. So that's kind of...
Like in your video, you were like, cats get fucking jealous.
Yeah, definitely.
Like animals. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I found some water. Total jackpot.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's I just think there has to be It's so loud. Can you hear me?
No, what is it?
You can hear me?
No. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. We might have to redo this just because it gets super loud at points.
Oh, with me?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I'm
Like
running my place. I can go back inside. Hold on.
Oh, you can?
No?
Okay.
No, sorry. Yeah, give me 1 sec. I'll walk. I'm on the main road. I had to come and find water here, so we're all good. We're all good.
Okay.
You know what?
You're traveling for like an hour.
I'm not even waiting for my change. That woman has no idea what's going on.
You're so funny.
All right.
So quick. Are you inside?
Tell you what, I'm in someone's garage. How's that?
Okay, that's good.
Yep, I'm good.
Oh, you're good? Okay.
Yep.
You're in a random person's garage?
Yeah.
Okay. Normal. Okay, let's talk about when you can't live without someone. Like, when a lot of people say like, "Oh, I can't live without them."
Yeah.
Like, what do you think? What do you recommend for people who feel that way?
Stop watching so many fucking movies. Yeah, I don't think that's healthy. I am. One of my really good friends actually used to call me a romantic realist. She's like, you definitely have this weird romantic streak, but also, you're very much a realist. And I think that applies to that. Like, I love the idea of being incredibly in love with someone and them inspiring you and, propelling each other forward in life. But I don't. Yeah, and breakups suck, man. Like, I've gone through some breakups and they fucking suck. But, not being able to live without someone, I don't think that's love. I think that is something else.
What do you think it is? Like, they're trying to fulfill something in you, or you want someone else to fulfill something, a need that you won't give yourself? Or
yeah. Look, I want to say it's insecurity, but that's such a cliche term that I think a lot of people will hear that and just tune out. What is it? Look, unresolved stuff from the past, the way you were raised by your parents. Maybe it took like one little trauma as a child. See, the thing is that I think a lot about is when you're a kid and you go through these like really emotional circumstances, because you're a kid, your understanding of the world is so small. Your world itself is so small that by comparison, this little bit of emotion is so strong. Whereas is when you grow up, you look back on a lot of the things you experienced as a kid and you're like, that wouldn't have affected me. That was so little. But you're forgetting what it felt like when you were 8 years old, because you're now 28 or 38.
yeah.
So it could be that. I really don't know. Like, if Freud and the great psychologists of the world can't figure it out, what hope do I have? But I also think like...
You can do it!
No, I'm trying. I also think, though, that you don't have to. Like, I don't think it's necessary to have all your things resolved. And because I actually really think, maybe this is a bit nihilistic, but I don't think a lot of this stuff can be resolved. I think a lot of this stuff is so deep and so ingrained into you that it's who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's important to have an understanding of where it may or may not have come from. And I don't think a lot of people want to delve into that. But, yeah. I'm almost...
Because it's scary. It's like they don't want to face that past childhood trauma again, even though you have to confront it in order to move on.
100%, definitely. Yeah. So what else have you got for me?
Okay. So let's go with... I want to talk about your approach mechanisms, because you have that really good video on YouTube where you're out and about with your clients at a bar and you're approaching women and recording it with their faces blurred. And you just seem to have such a really natural way of approaching. And I wanted to hear if you have any tips for men who have trouble approaching women.
Yeah, sure.
From the very start.
Well, I think the first thing off the bat is it's going to take you way longer than what you think. Like the amount of guys that I meet who will get inspired by a video or a book or something, and then they'll rush out and try this once, and then they'll just go, fuck that. Like, that hurts, that's hard, oh my God. So I think step one would be just committing, at least several months to this. I would say at least 6 months. So I don't think your first steps in learning to approach are approaching. I don't think it's anything to do with the approaching. I think it's like making that mental commitment to yourself to undertaking a path of growth and learning. I think step two is finding guys that are interested in this as well. Just because I think, it can be done on your own. I did this for a couple of years on my own before I even found anyone else interested in it. But it took me hell of a lot longer than it would have. And there are some really cool guys interested in this stuff. Like, not everyone interested in this is like a total loser or, completely weird. A lot of guys...
Like, interested in what specifically?
Just going out to meet girls, to improve themselves with women, to become more social, because it's seen as a very weird concept. Do you know? So
and a weak concept, and it's not.
Yeah, man, I've coached millionaires and pilots and actors, you name it, I've coached it. So these guys aren't losers. They're not even lacking confidence. Again, it just goes back to what I mentioned at the start of our chat. We're not taught any of this. So how are we to know, Mm-hmm. You can be I coach many, many confident guys, the guys that run companies and obviously very self-sufficient, confident guys, but you get them in a bar or on the street and you're like, hey, let's go talk to her. And you can see them completely freeze up. So I think it's just a situational confidence thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they're confident in one area of their lives, but they haven't worked enough on that area to become confident yet.
Exactly.
It takes work.
Exactly.
Like you're saying, it takes practice. Yeah.
It takes practice and learn. You have the internet. You're going to read a bunch of weird shit and a bunch of shit that doesn't apply to you. I think it just goes back again to too many guys want this resolved in a week. They just want to get out there and they just want to be fixed and get their perfect girlfriend, and they go back hiding in their room, with it for a week or two. And it's just, even if it did work out like that, I don't think that's the best way for you. Most guys that I meet who want a girlfriend, in my head, I'm thinking, dude, the fucking worst thing for you right now would be a girlfriend, because it ain't going to end well. Or you're going to attract some psycho or a loser. You tend to attract what you are. So if you're at the bottom rungs of society with no confidence and no fucking self-esteem, what are you going to attract? So I think a lot of those guys just need to go, right, I need to get a lot of stuff sorted. Meeting women is one of a number of things.
Yeah. I love that, because that's so how I coach in my way. It's okay, well, if you're not where you want to be and you're not the man you want to be, then why are you going to how are you going to attract this amazing woman if you're sitting on your ass doing nothing, feeling sorry for yourself? Are you going to attract some confident, successful woman who loves who she is and is going places in life if you're just sitting there? You're not.
No.
So it's you got to work on your own shit. Take care of your own shit and realize that it takes patience, it takes consistency, and it takes some failure in order to learn and to grow and get better.
It takes a lot of failure. And more so, it takes very personal failure. You can go to work and fail there. Yeah, fine, but that's not personal. You can go to learn a sport or an instrument and you can fail there. It's not personal. When you're at approaching women and they're telling you to fuck, which so very few women do, or they're just ignoring you or whatever, that's very personal, and that stirs up a lot of emotion in guys.
What makes it that much personal?
Because it cuts to the core of who we really are, and I think we're kind of biologically wired for social approval. That's why you should never believe anyone who says they don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. I don't buy it, buddy.
We all do. We all do.
We all do, to varying degrees. If that degree is very high, I think it's problematic. But yeah, everyone. So I think that's why it can be so personal, and especially because it takes so much emotion to go and approach an attractive girl in a supermarket or in a bar or something like that. So it can be a massive build-up for a big letdown. And it's fucking hard.
Yeah. Did you get nervous? Like, did you used to really get nervous? Like your chest pounding and like...
Oh, mate, my first day approach ever, I lapped the supermarket 12 times. I was like, I'm going to fucking approach a girl through the day. I'd never done it before. I was 26 or something. I don't know. And I walked around and around and around and around, kept looking at her. Eventually went in and just said, excuse me, like, would this be really weird if I just gave you a compliment in the supermarket? And no shit, she said to me, no, it wouldn't be weird at all. It'd only be weird if you'd followed me around for a while. And I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, that's fucking exactly what I've done.
That's what I've been doing.
That's exactly what I've been doing. But
I won't tell
really
you
friendly.
that.
No, I'm not telling. I just ran off. I was like, thanks.
Like a dress, bye.
Yeah, it's good. Enjoy your kiwi fruits.
That's something I actually gave as a tip to a couple of my clients. Was like, if you make the approach situational, it's not as creepy. Like if you just walk up to her and like and say, oh, you look beautiful, then it's like, okay, like now what?
Yeah.
You know? But if you if you're in the supermarket, I say like pick out something in her cart really fast and comment on it, or like comment about something on the shelf, or at least you'll both have something in common and it's not you directly hitting on her where she might feel threatened.
I also think an issue with more direct style approaching, and this is probably going to piss off a lot of people, but it's, the truth from my understanding of the truth, is that more direct style of approaching varies or is influenced a lot by your own social standing. And I do see, again, it's going to piss off a lot of people, but I do see a lot of guys who are out there and they don't really have themselves sorted out. Maybe they do kind of dress pretty shit, and maybe they have to work on their appearance and their confidence and their personality. And they're out there approaching the stunner on the street with, hey, you're really beautiful. I come say hi. And that's great because you did an approach. But why is that girl going to fucking want to date you? I think, while you are getting there, situational approaches can be really great as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just taking a look in the mirror, right? And being like, okay, where am I?
For sure. And every guy
not physically, but as a man, as a person.
Definitely. And I always say to men, this is where I might piss off the women, but I always say to men, you're so lucky to be a guy because, I think appearance is important for women, but I don't know if it's number one or even number two. Do you know? I think for more young, I think for younger women it can be. You get a girl who's 20, she's gonna be like, oh my God, the hot guy. But any girl over maybe 24, 25, that's going to change.
Oh my God, the smart guy who makes me feel really good mentally.
Yeah. How many times do you hear your female friends going, until he opened his mouth? I hear my female friends say this all the time, so hot, but fucking so dumb. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's actually very true. Men are more physically driven. So for a man, and I find this interesting, I found out recently, is men will not go on a date with a woman. Tell me if I'm wrong. Will not go on a date with a woman who they don't find at all physically attractive. Right?
Nah, not unless you want a friend. But even then, probably not.
No, to date. Because women will go out with a guy we're not physically attracted to just to give him a shot. But from all the men who've given me feedback on this, they're like, no, I wouldn't. Why would you go out on a date with someone you're not even physically attracted to at all?
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's funny. But women will, because we're more mentally driven and men are more physically.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes total sense.
Nice. Lucky.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think is the first thing guys need to work on? Really, what do you think is the main thing they should? If it's time to get their shit together, does it just depend on them, or is there one thing that?
I think it's so varied. What don't you like about yourself? I always think that's a good place to start. If you are 50 kilos overweight, get cracking, man. Get working on that. If you haven't bought clothes in 5 years, get going on that. If you've not been to a bar, actually, that's what it could be. It could be understanding that who you are is malleable and being prepared to do something different. You'll hear a lot, or at least I've heard a lot in the past, oh, that's not very me. I was like, well, there's a fucking reason that you're not getting what you want. It's because you're clinging to this notion of who you are.
And you could change who you are.
Yeah, and you can change who you are. I'm not saying change who you are at the core, but I mean, work on yourself and grow. What's that may or may not be Einstein quote? Once a mind is stretched to a new idea, it can never take its original form or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's like changing who you are at the core, because no one wants to do that. Why would you want to do that? But human beings are incredibly malleable, and you change. Well, ideally, you should change. The sad reality is not many people do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, just change based on what you want, you know?
Yeah,
If
exactly.
things aren't working for you in your life, then make some changes. I think it's so easy for us to think that and just say, yeah, I got to change. But no one actually takes the steps, which is why you and I are in business.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of change, like, I think you can change, but I think real change is when you don't have a choice. Real change is when you're This is why so many guys change after breakups. That's why so many guys will contact me or you after a breakup, because they don't have a choice. Why do you think I'm in fucking Mexico? Because I was trying to change my circumstances for the last couple of years, but I had it sweet. You know, I was doing what I love. I was making decent money, like living in the best city in the world. Like there was no like evolutionary push on me to change. So that's why I had to like go randomly one day, book a ticket and throw myself into like, I've got to make shit work now. So I think that real change is when you're just backed into a corner, and, you know, like I know the hardest guys to coach.
Maybe even putting like what you did, like put yourself in an awkward, uncomfortable situation and force yourself to grow. Yeah,
definitely. Like, don't like your girlfriend, break up with her. It's happening anyway eventually. Just do it. Like, you don't like your job, quit. I know I'm being a little bit facetious with it, but like you've got to burn those fucking boats at some point, because that's, if you really want to change, that's what you got to do. And it might, you know, look, you might end up dead in a gutter, but you probably won't. Like, shit's probably going to work out pretty well, because I kind of feel that when you take a step, fucking universe or whatever woo-woo shit you want to call it is going to, you know, you take one step, it's going to direct you to the next step. But yeah.
What's your take on that, on the woo-woo shit? What's your take on like the law of attraction and mindset?
Ooh,
so I'm big on that.
Woo-woo shit typically I hate. However, you know, I've visualized every day since I was 16. I read The Power of Your Subconscious Mind when I was 16, and I was like, I just want some things backed with science. That's all I want. You start talking about chakras and crystals, you're going to fucking lose me. But you start talking about like neural pathways or something and how they can be influenced by your thinking. Now I'm on board, because there's enough evidence to support it. And it's just a shame that a lot of all that gets mashed up. Like, you know, I'm a really avid meditator, and I can see eyes glaze over when I talk about meditation, because people think it's some, you know, woo-woo shit from India, which it was for a long time, but now there's a lot of science on it. So
and there's a lot, there's scientific proof. Like, they're writing books on all this shit, on like the atoms and the formation of energy and what it does when, you know. And I think I just did a speaking event for about like 30 guys yesterday, 2 days ago. And when I brought this up, you can tell that there were a lot of faces that were like, what are you talking about? You know, I was explaining like the neural pathway connections and how our thoughts form connections that shape our beliefs and our values and our habits and who we are as people. And it was just very much like, you know, I just want the woman. Like, I'm like, okay, you have to understand what takes getting that woman is you bettering yourself and changing your mindset and changing thought that, oh, like so many guys just assume, oh, I'll never have her and I suck at dating and I always fail and I'm always rejected. If you keep believing that over and over, those are the connections like that relay in your brain and just keep playing over and over again. Whereas if you change them, you can have a different result, right?
Yeah. And it's the same thing. Like, a lot of people don't want to, you don't just, you know, it's funny. I'm actually a really big fan of subliminals and self-hypnosis and all that sort of thing. And I'm always browsing new ones on YouTube, and just, you know, that's generally how I start my day. I'll wake up, I'll have a coffee. If my mind's going kind of cray-cray, I'll chuck on some focused binaural beats.
Cray. I love how you always say that. Cray today.
Well, it is, yeah. And then, you know, and whether it's placebo effect or not, I find it really helps. And I saw one just this morning, actually. I can't remember what the topic was, but some girl wrote underneath, I listened to this and I still had the habit. And the guy that published the video was like, yeah, you have to listen to it more than once, you dumb shit. Like,
oh my God.
You can't, like, it takes a long time.
If it was a one-work wonder, I think everyone would be watching it.
Yeah, the secret would be out.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's the consistency. It's like, you know, like obviously no one wants to, I mean, in the beginning anyway, doesn't want to sit there and meditate and try to clear their head completely because it's hard. It's fucking hard to do.
Dude, I've meditated for 7 years and every goddamn morning I don't want to do it. I fucking hate it, but I have to do it.
Same. Like this morning I was getting so frustrated because I just couldn't clear my mind. And I was like, body, shut up. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I was like trying to really just, you know, in the nicest way, most of way. But it's very much like, you know, you see the benefits when you clear your head. It's like your mind, it's like a new brain pops up and you have new ideas and like,
I have to meditate
you can shape who you are.
Yeah, I have to keep a notepad near me because I won't even be thinking about stuff. And when I'm meditating, like some thought will pop into my head. And it'll often be a resolution to something that I've been debating for so long, you know. So something happens.
Yeah. And I just did, what are your thoughts around that? Like I just did a post on kind of like turning off in order to turn back on, to kind of like reboot your brain in a way and give yourself more mental clarity by shutting off and turning away from technology and things that you may be like obsessed about. Like, what do you do? Do you do anything besides meditation to kind of clear your head and allow space for creativity?
I do every morning. I do 20 minutes meditation. I do 10 minutes of what I call mind work. It's just really thinking of what I want, you know, just ideas and what I want to unfold. And like sometimes speaking aloud, like often I'll have to get away from people that I'm with or whatever, just to go so I can talk to myself. Otherwise I just look like a crazy person. But I don't really do, I mean, I do physical things. I do a lot of sprints because I find them helpful. I do a lot of intermittent fasting because I find like that really helps. I obviously, you know, have been quite a big proponent of psychedelics in the past, but you know, that's going to divide the crowd on that. So I think it's just whatever works for you.
Yeah. Yeah, but I totally agree. The exercise definitely helps as well.
Oh, it's enormous. It's enormous. Like if I don't meditate or exercise, I become a total bitch in like 3 days.
Bitch or dick or both?
Both. Depends who I'm dealing with. It really can depend who I'm dealing with. Yeah, definitely.
I think it's important for like all guys to realize like the importance of meditating and like setting visions for themselves and not seeing it as woo-woo. And like I hate that people see it that way because there is so much scientific evidence, like proof to back it up, like you said.
Yeah.
And like you're the last thing from a feminine man. You're like a pretty masculine guy, like from the moment I started talking to you. And it's just like, would you consider yourself that?
Oh no, I was like,
like,
was that a good thing? Was it a bad thing? I don't know. If I've been complimented or insulted, what was that?
No. I mean, it's a compliment in my eyes. I think you're very masculine, and I don't think you portray that as being, you know, because I think a lot of like guys who are masculine or want to be more in their masculine are afraid to do the visuals and do the meditation because they feel like it's too feminine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So like it's kind of like trying to make that more, more manly and more just real and more. Everyone does this. Like even the most masculine men do this and it works and it helps you clear your head and it helps you get the women you want and it helps you have a clearer picture of what you want for your life and for yourself.
Yeah, I like that. I guess that's what I kind of have been trying to put out there without realizing that's what I was trying to put out there. Just like, that's why I'm very open. You know, you follow me on social media and shit. Most of my shit is just dumb, stupid shit because it's like
so funny.
I don't want to project myself as this kind of like self-help. It's just like, look, I'm a fucking nutcase, but I live a good life. I do what I want. You know, I have my issues. However, I'm very open about them and I work through them and like I'm very disciplined in trying to get myself to where I want to be. And I do see a lot of that in the personal development sort of industry, I guess. Everyone kind of feels they have to put on this face of like, why will my clients trust me if they know that I'm hurting inside? And it's like, because people
we're all hurting inside.
We're
all fucked up.
Yeah, we're all in the fucking gutter looking at the stars. Like everyone has issues. Like so if you hide that, no one's going to connect with you.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, even when I was being like silly and weird on my Instagram, I wouldn't do it on my professional Instagram account. And I was like, this is weird. And I was so serious on that. I don't know if you remember, like when I first started it, I was super serious on my on my business account. And I think I was talking to you, and I was like, Chris, I don't feel like myself. And you're like, because you're not yourself. What the fuck are you doing?
Nice. I like it.
And like the second I opened up and like started being weird and just showing my side, I got more clients and like more money and like more trust. And it was just like, whoa, that's
100%.
kind of crazy.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
and people are afraid of that. It's so nuts.
Yeah, it's a weird little industry that we're in, you know.
It is. Yeah, because it's all about bettering you and becoming, you know, the greatest version. And then, you know, it's like, well, am I not supposed to show my side?
Yeah,
then you're just a liar.
Exactly. Everyone wants to go to heaven. No one wants to die. It's just like, yeah,
exactly. One more thing I want to cover with you: rejection. How do you handle rejection? Like, what are your thoughts when you get when you did get rejected, or still do by your girlfriend? No, not alcohol. What else?
How did I
Hurry up, what else?
I got nowhere to be. I could keep going all day. How did I deal with rejection? I like to think I'm in a position now where it doesn't really faze me that much at all. Like when I was
but is that because you have a girlfriend?
No, it's much more that, like, even my girlfriend said to me last night, like, I liked you because she said you were like moody and unattainable. And I was like, no, bitch, I was coaching. I was watching a fucking client and I had to ignore you. And she was kind of like, wow, this guy's so unattainable. It's like I was working. But back in the day, I think because of kind of how I grew up, like, you know, I was kind of I don't know. It depends who you are. Some people say I was very quiet. Other people say I wasn't. But from my memory, I never really liked being super social, especially in my teens. I didn't like being social at all in my teens. So I think for me, I set my bar so low that rejection was almost impossible. So like if I was in a bar, for instance, when I was trying to do this stuff, if I would just say to a girl, how's your night going? And she'd say good, and that would be the end of the conversation. Or even if she wouldn't say anything at all, I'd be so happy that I did that the rejection wouldn't really even hit me, I guess.
Ooh, I like that.
I guess because I was coming from such a kind of, quote, low place that I was so happy with anything. And I know absolutely the hardest guys to coach are the guys who are, a lot of people are not going to believe this, but it's true. Hardest guys to coach are the guys who are already pretty cool. And they're hard to coach because they've lived their lives being a certain degree of cool. And now that's in jeopardy. If you're already, you know, 6 foot and pretty attractive and you've been cool and popular in high school your whole life and you approach a girl on the street, she looks at you like a psycho, all your history gets put into question. Whereas a guy who's kind of been a lovable loser and just come out of a breakup, ain't got much going for him, and he approaches a girl on the street, that's awesome. Like most of the time they're so happy with that regardless of how it goes. So I guess it's ego shit. I don't know.
That's interesting. I like that though. Like you can kind of celebrate that step as a means of like, maybe go into it thinking all I have to do is approach her and I did my job.
Exactly. Yeah. And the reason that worked for me was because I knew it was going to be a long process. I knew I was going to have to put years into this. So if if after 3 months of being in a bar, I finally said hi to a girl and asked for her phone number, massive step. And I knew that I still had a couple years to go. So there was no rush. You know, goes back to what I said before. Guys just want to rush it. They go out, you know.
Yeah. They want change in like 1 month. They think they're going to change in 1 month. And get all the women.
Motherfuckers want to change in 3 hours.
Yeah, that too. They think if it goes wrong with.
I totally get it. I'm so impatient. I totally get it. If I can't do something, I get frustrated and I want to know it and rah, rah, rah. The difference between me and a lot of other people, though, is I won't give up, despite how frustrated I get. And it's kind of sad. A lot of people just, like, if they don't get it in that week, they're out, whether it be with a business, whether it be with girls or health or, anything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. But I love that. Those are really good tips. Like, go into it with just the intention of saying hello. And like, if you did that, you won already. And then
100%.
whatever on top of that is just is just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
And
Anything after
then
that point is her.
understand it will take, it's all up to her at that point. You can't do anymore.
Yeah, all you've done is
That's a good way to
present
look at
yourself. That's most of dating, to be honest. Most of dating is
it
just
really
presenting yourself and like, I'm here, I like you, do you like me? That's it. It's just having the balls to do that. Like, if not, fine, I'll move along. If so, let's see what happens. People want to complicate this shit so much. Like, I'm going to walk in from this diagonal. Shut up.
So she'll see my right arm, my right bicep, which is bigger.
Left arm, because that has my Rolex. Shut up.
Yeah. I think, and understanding that it will take a long time and just being okay with the fact that you have to be patient and it will take years. Just think it'll take years and you'll be happy with your results a lot more than.
Yeah, almost like think that it's going to take years, and if it takes less, awesome. You know, I've definitely coached clients who have ended up dating literally the first girl they approached in my workshop. Obviously, it's not the most common thing, but it does happen. So if you sort of say to yourself, look, this is going to take a year or two, but it's a year or two out of my 80 years on the planet, cool, it's a worthy investment. And then if you end up dating a girl, like I've had guys before getting to week, 3, 4 of my workshop and go, you know what, dude, you can keep these last 2 weeks. This is the girl for me. I'm done. And that's awesome, So does happen. But for most guys, it's going to take a lot longer.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends, like who's where you're looking and if that person's good for you. And we're not meant for every single woman or man. So it's just about, just keep it up.
And it's just what you've got to resolve in yourself as well. I think sometimes not getting what you want is one of the best things that could ever happen to you, what would have happened to me back in 2005 or 6 if I just met a girl, really liked her, stopped all of this? Where would I be? What would I be doing? Sure as shit wouldn't be this life, So sometimes but you only know that in retrospect, of course. Like I tell my clients that all the time and they're just like, fuck you. It's hard to believe that thinking forward. Only in retrospect can you go, oh, I'm so glad that didn't work out.
Right.
And once that happens, once that happens a few times, then you start to kind of develop. Like someone said to me the other day, like, are you scared? You just fucking sold all your shit and off you went to Mexico. Like, you don't even really have a plan. And I was like, a little bit. However, like once you've seen a number of times that things just work out, like think of all the times in the past that I've shit myself and then things have worked out. Like that can only happen so many times before you start just kind of going, look, I've been here before. I've felt this before. And you kind of start to develop a little bit of faith in it. So,
yeah, that's like me too. Like whatever happens, I know I'll be okay because it's just shit happened so many times where things shouldn't have gone wrong, but I flipped it. I made it okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's just trusting yourself,
Yeah, trusting yourself and like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You die. Probably not that bad. You don't know what happens after death. It's probably not that bad. Could be even better than this. You don't know. So it's not
Let's
really.
Let's not go there yet. But yes, it could be.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I'm going to, was there something else you were going to say?
No, you're good. I was just drinking.
Okay. Drinking your water.
Water, yes. Clarify.
Okay. So now the last question I know I said rejection was the last question, but this one is, what do you love about women?
Ooh. What do I love about women? See, if you said a much easier question. But what I love about women is that
when you think women, like what do you love?
What I like most about women is that they can be unrelenting on men who aren't worthy of them. And that sounds a bit catty, but I think that's amazing because it's going to make you fucking grow. Like I just don't think women biologically really want to date a guy who, is not bringing much to the table. So like your only option, if you want to join the party, is to work on yourself, is to improve yourself in some way. And I don't think that's improving so that you get women. I think it's just improving how you want to improve, because I think women are always liking you as much as you like yourself. So, and that's why a lot of the whole like bad boy thing, women don't like bad boys. It's just more that like the bad boy doesn't give a shit. He's just living his life. He's like, awesome. Yeah. You want to come along? Or if she kind of says something rude, he'll be like, fuck you. You know, like
That's so true. Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
not
He's just living for him.
He's just living for him, you know, and she's come along for the ride, and like where it ends, you know, wherever it ends up, sorry, that's where it ends up. There's no, yeah, I don't even know if I answered that question.
You did. No, that's cool. I like that answer a lot. Okay, and I'm gonna end with what I love about you.
Oh,
so because I'm so excited because this podcast is what I love about men.
Okay.
I just want to say how much you mean to me in terms of how I met you. And you are one of those guys. You're one of the guys in my story I talk about of when I met a couple men who just gave me faith in the male species. And there were about like 5 of you, and you were one of them. And it was just, you know, you were living in Australia, I was in US, and it was just kind of like, why is this guy like talking to me? Like I remember it was in a Starbucks, like I found you on YouTube, and I was just like, wow, he knows his shit. And I reached out to you, and right away you were just like so helpful and so like wanted nothing in return. And it was just helping me out for months and months up until now. And that was, you know, a year ago, almost over a year ago now.
Damn.
So it was just, our conversations are just filled with laughs, and like, you're always making me laugh and always giving me insight. Whenever I have a question, you're always there to answer or be there for guidance. So,
thank you.
So yeah, that's what I love about you, Chris.
That's awesome. Thank you. I didn't even know I was doing any of that. So that's nice.
Yeah, see? But all right. So we're going to end this here. This is what I love about men. And Chris, thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.